What's up guys, and welcome to Digital Coinage. In this video, I'm going to be answering 3 questions. What is blockchain technology? How is it being used? And why should you care? Coming up. Okay, so to start off, I just want to say that blockchain is not Bitcoin. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about what blockchain is. So what is blockchain technology? Simply put, blockchain technology is just an immutable, distributed ledger. To better understand this, let's break down each part of that definition. So let's start off with ledger. What is a ledger? A ledger is just a history of transactions that have taken place. So it's important to recognize that with blockchain technology, a ledger doesn't just have to keep track of financial interactions. Not all transactions are financial, but all transactions do have value. A way of thinking of this is that if you look at Facebook's messaging application, I don't pay anything to use Facebook's Messenger. However, it's Facebook's job to determine what the exact financial value of that messaging application is. So even though it doesn't cost me a single penny to use their messaging application, they're getting paid a lot of money for me using that application. Google also keeps a ledger of transactions by documenting who's using their search engine, what they're searching for, and at what times they're searching. So both of these examples are examples of a ledger being kept, but it's not exactly financial. Now on to the second word of our definition, which is distributed. Everything in today's world is completely centralized, which means that it requires the trust of a third party or another entity to mediate the transactions that are occurring. To transfer money, it requires the mediation of a bank. To access content on the internet, it requires mediation of a server. So, for example, while streaming a movie on Netflix today, your computer is required to reach out to their server and access the file of the film. This would be an example of a centralized network, one in which your computer accesses the server of a large corporation. This isn't exactly how streaming works, but for the sake of this example, let's just pretend. If Netflix ran a distributed network, it would look something like this. In a distributed platform, you are the server and you are the trusted entity. Similar to torrenting, if you're familiar with that, if your computer were to query the network for a particular movie, every single person that was watching the movie or had access to the movie, let's say there's about 100,000, would send you just one frame of the movie. The end result is the same in that you now have a completed file of the movie on your computer. However, the method by which you receive the file is different. Instead of retrieving the file from one centralized server, you got an individual frame from 100,000 other different computers that were all watching the movie. In a nutshell, this is what a distributed network looks like. Every single node on the network is working to distribute pieces of a file so that every single person on the network can have access to the entire file. Okay, so now on to word 3 of our definition, immutable. Immutable just means that all the data that's kept on the ledger can never be changed. So once the data has been documented and verified, that data is completely secure. This also means that the data that's kept on the ledger is completely trustless in that it doesn't require the trust of third parties or any other larger entity to keep track of it. In our Netflix example, we talked about a movie being shared amongst people on a distributed network. But on a blockchain, it's important to realize that the file that's being shared is actually a ledger. So every single person that's on the network has the exact same copy of the same ledger. So this is where blocks and mining come into play. Data sets of transactions are stored in chunks that are called blocks, and everyone in the network is trying to mine these blocks. Mining is a process of verifying that the data stored in these blocks is accurate. Simply put, it's a system of validation. Once a group of transactions has been verified, every person gets a new addition to their original ledger. In this way, everyone's ledger should look exactly the same. If one person decides to do something malicious or change their copy of the ledger, their file is then singled out as being different and is therefore discontinued. It would take a large majority of the nodes on a network to be performing the exact same malicious act to alter the ledger in any way. So again, in a very oversimplified way, this is how immutability works on a blockchain. In a centralized system, if the powers that be, whether it's the government or corporations, wanted to change that ledger in any way, they would do it unbeknownst to you. Now that we've looked at every aspect of the original definition of blockchain being an immutable distributed ledger, let's take a look at some of the use cases. How is blockchain being used right now as you're watching this video? Financial interactions, money conversions, eliminating waste in the banking system, cybersecurity, health records, school records, crowdfunding, real estate, streaming online music, used car sales, voting, social networking, credit card payments, stock trading. Many countries are even looking into decentralizing their banking systems. And blockchain has even been used by the UN to send relief to over 10,000 Syrian refugees. As you can see, there's already many implications for blockchain technology, but let's talk a little bit about why you should care. So think about spreadsheets. How many companies use spreadsheets? How much data in today's society is kept on spreadsheets? Anywhere that there's a spreadsheet or a list of transactions, there's an opportunity for blockchain to fill a void. So we're literally talking about a completely underlying fabric of society that's about to be completely uprooted and revolutionized. And at the center of that revolution are three things: security, trust, and privacy. So if you've been following politics at all this year, you've seen this huge populist movement towards candidates that people think that they can trust because they're not typical politicians. Republicans got Donald Trump, Democrats had Bernie Sanders, who was a democratic socialist, you had Macron get elected, who was an independent centralist, and then you had the whole Brexit movement, which was brought on by a backlash against the establishment. Trust in corporations, trust in government, trust in big banks are huge concerns worldwide. But imagine a system in which you didn't need to trust a bank. Imagine a system where elections took place on a blockchain, so there wasn't even an opportunity for voter fraud. Imagine a world where you didn't have to give up privacy just to send messages to your friends. So the goal of blockchain is to eliminate fraud and corruption as we know it and give equal footing to every single person that's in the network of humanity. And that is a liberating concept. So that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you can understand blockchain technology a little bit better after watching this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Also, what do you guys think of blockchain technology? Where do you think it'll be in the next year or 2 years? I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.